Hello and welcome to this PV Tech TechTalk series webinar co-hosted with Huawei. The title of today's webinar is How Installers Can Meet Surging Consumer Demand for Holistic Home Solar, Storage and EV Charging Systems. My name is Liam Stoker and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Now today's webinar is scheduled to last around 1 hour, featuring a product-led presentation from Huawei before a Q&A session where you'll get to quiz Huawei on the products we discussed today. Our presenter today is Thomas Herold, who is Technical Director at Huawei. But before we start, some quick housekeeping points. Today's webinar will last approximately 1 hour, as we've said. After our presentations today, there will be a Q&A as discussed, and we can encourage any and all questions from our audience today. Questions can be submitted through the dialog box on your screen. The slides and a recording of today's webinar will also be available shortly after the presentation. But without any further ado, I'll hand over to Thomas to begin today's webinar.
Thank you, Liam, and hello, everybody. This is Thomas speaking. Just put on my camera for a quick introduction. So hello, everybody, for our live webinar today about the increasing demand on Huawei's, or generally speaking, photovoltaic systems. I'm Technical Director at Huawei. I'm now joined Huawei over 3 years ago, and I'm honored today to launch our new products and introduce our new products with all the features to the audience. And I will close my camera again now and will directly start with a short introduction of our total system. Holistic system is the topic of today. So, of course, Huawei now completed the system by adding some missing components like the AC wall box. So we can now provide all components who are necessary to provide a zero carbon energy to a house, to a residential household. We call it 1 + 4 + X. What does that mean? Of course, Huawei is a well-known manufacturer and provider of a photovoltaic inverter, though the 1 stands for the inverter. We call it, for residential systems, a smart energy controller. And in combination with this smart energy controller, we can flexibly add on-demand string energy system, storage system from us, from Huawei, and as well as smart PV optimizer on the rooftop. The latest launch of a product is our new AC charger, who is then available to charge your electric vehicle, combined with our photovoltaic system with the green energy from your own rooftop. And the number 4 is the missing monitoring system. Our FusionSolar smart PV management system completes our 1 + 4 system, who will supply your residential home with green energy from your rooftop. The X is the meaning for our flexible integration, though we are open to get integrated in other third-party applications like smart home applications, heating systems, and so on. We have open interfaces locally on our system, and as well our cloud, our FusionSolar management system has an interface to get information out of our system for integration into third party. So this is why the X is shown here. And for today's topic, we go more in detail into the +4 short new information as well for our smart energy controller, for our inverter. We upgraded lately our 3-phase smart energy controller up to 10 kilowatt. And with a higher input current, so we can match as well our inverter to high power modules who are now available on the market. So we upgraded these lately, and as a benefit from Huawei, all energy controllers up to 10 kilowatt are already flexible, combinable to our storage system, to our optimizer, and of course to our new EV charger. So anyway, if you decide to go with or without optimizer, or you want to add a storage system into your system, into your house, you can still use the same component. All the time you can use the same smart energy controller, the same inverter, and you can flexibly combine it to optimizer, to charger, or to our smart string energy storage system. Let's go a little bit more into detail for the single components, starting with the number one, our module controller, our optimizer, who is equipped on the roof to the modules. We lately released a new power class for our smart module controller. So we are now providing two power classes, one with 450 watt and the second one with a 600 watt for high power modules. Both have the same dimension, the same size as our optimizer before. It's very easy to fit in one hand, so it's similar to a size of a hand. So we can hold it with one hand. It is very convenient to mount it. We are flexible to mount either on the module frame or on the mounting structure itself. The weight is quite okay to easily handle it on the roof, even if necessary. So we have a small device who is easy to handle. So easy to use, easy to handle. This is one of the main targets in our total solution. And this is already beginning on the module side by adding the smart energy controller. Easy to use and easy to find is it as well the right component, the right optimizer. So typically it's very complex to have a module and to find the right optimizer component on the market. Though for our portfolio, it's quite small and slim. We have only the two power classes. Both power classes for the optimizers are able to work with up to 14.5 amps from the module side. So we newly now fit the high current PV modules. Even you have a 60 cell, 72 cell, or typically nowadays you have a half cut cell with around between 11 and 13 amps. So we can match more or less all modules available to in the residential application area. We can fit our optimizer to all of these modules. So it's very easy for you, for your logistics, for your warehouse management to stock the components inside of your warehouse, because you know, okay, typically I have only one type of optimizer, and this one type of optimizer is fitting to more or less all modules available. And as well as mentioned, it's flexible in terms of the mounting. We can mount the optimizer on the rack, on the mounting structure, or we mount it directly on the PV module frame. Both is possible as well, both possible for landscape or portal orientated installation from the module. Both fits to our optimizer, and that makes our solution even more easy to use in terms of flexibility and warehouse management. Important, of course, it's the reliability for components what you are putting on your roof, not only for the modules, for the PV modules, as well, of course, for the optimizers. That's why we have a very innovative buck circuit design for our optimizer, very slim, very reduced from the electronic part number. We have only 200 pieces typically per optimizer of electronic components equipped inside of the optimizer, and this is a very robust design. As our optimizer is working with our inverter, and the inverter has the MPP tracking fully integrated inside of the inverter, we do not need a full MPP tracking on each module and integrated in each optimizer. Though that's why we can work with less electronics for higher reliability on the rooftop. Flexibility, again, is important in terms of design. First, you have to choose the right module and to find easily our Huawei optimizer who fits with the module. And then it's important to easy do a layout and easy design the optimum of modules on each roof. So it should be avoided to do a very time-consuming design for each single residential house. So that's why it's important to reduce the time of planning, to reduce the cost of planning, and to be flexible in terms of string design. What we are able to do with our optimizer, we can do a long string design with our optimizer. If on each module one optimizer is equipped, the design rules are changed. So we are changing from the typical voltage limitation from the input side of the inverter to an power limitation of the number of modules. So typically you divide with your module power class is dividing the number of maximum DC power per string, what we allow. So typically for a 3-phase inverter up to 10 kilowatt, it's 10 kilowatt per string. And this is the limitation, though the new limitation. We shifted this limit from 1000 volt to 10,000 watts. And the calculation is then quite easy. For example, here, when you have a 350 watt module, you can add up to 28 modules in one string. So what allows you to oversize the DC to AC ratio by, let's say, about 50%. And of course, you get much more flexible in your system design, in your plant design, because you are flexible. If you see, you can add 1, 2, or 3 modules in a string, even more on the roof. By adding the optimizer solution and creating a long string design, you can still add some more PV modules to the rooftop, what enables you to gain more energy from the roof by choosing such long string design. Reducing the time of planning is the one thing. The next thing is removing or reducing the time of creating a plant design, a plant layout, a physical layout inside of the monitoring. Because one of the main reasons by adding optimizers to a rooftop is the full visibility of all electrical information from each single module on the roof. Because of course, the house owner wants to see what module is performing maybe better or less compared to others. And in the past, it was a huge task for everyone to create a physical layout by clicking manually optimizer to the right position. So that's why we release, or we integrated in our solution very fast 5-second physical layout creation by using our FusionSolar application on the smartphone. So how does it works? Each optimizer came with a label QR code, and this label is easy to remove from the optimizer, and it's easy to stick on a template. So we ship a template with each packet of optimizers, and you can use this template together with the QR code of the optimizer, and you have to put the QR code to the right position of the physical layout later on. So the QR code includes the serial number, and by taking a picture of this template, including the QR codes, the APP automatically detects the serial numbers of all the installed optimizers, and as well, due to the template, we know the position. And together with these two informations regarding the positioning and the right serial number, the inverter got the information correctly, and we can create a physical layout. And we can create a physical layout of the system within a few seconds. And this is dramatically reduce the time of configuration and the time of creating a physical layout, and on the end of the day, reducing time and effort, of course, reduce the cost of installation and the cost of the system in total. This is an example how such a physical layout of a more complex roof could look like. Where we can use the model level monitoring on one hand, but combined with our integrated arc fault positioning system, we can create a higher safety level as well on the rooftop. All of our inverters coming with an integrated arc fault circuit interrupter system, so we call it AFCI, what is automatically detecting an arc on the roof. Though even without optimizer, we can detect this arcs on the roof only by our inverter. By adding our optimizer solution, we got one important benefit again. And this is because our optimizer is showing the place and the module where an arc is occurring in this moment on the rooftop. So, before you went on site to the plant, you already know in which section on the roof you have to look for an arc. So it's much easier to go on site and to go troubleshooting because you already know the area where you have to look for an arc. Otherwise, if you don't have optimizers installed, with our inverter solution, the string of the occurring arc, but the optimizer is showing you the pinpoint position. So it's very easy to go there, go to this module, check this one single module and the wiring around of this one module. This reduced dramatically the time of troubleshooting. And again, troubleshooting time costs money, and reducing the cost of a system. Of course, the target is to reduce the time and the money. We have different flexibility options with our optimizer. So as I mentioned, our inverter is fully equipped with MPP trackers, typically a minimum of 2 MPP trackers, as well equipped with global MPP tracking, so what is allowing us to gaining the maximum of yield from each unshaded roof by only using our inverter and the integrated MPP tracking. And as I mentioned, we are flexible. So we can choose no optimizer. We can choose, on the other hand, we can choose the full optimizer solution. So we giving the choice of using optimizer or no optimizer in the hand of the installer and finally in the hand of the house owner, because everyone can decide for himself. Is it worth to have higher safety? Is it worth to avoid the negative impact of shading? Do I want to work with our long string design, for example, for multi-orientation rooftops? So for all scenarios, we can cover it with our own technique, what we can provide, even only the inverter. On flexible decision, we can add optimizers as well if necessary, so we can cover all scenarios. The same flexibility, as I mentioned, we have with our energy storage system. So we can decide, can we do, or do we want to add a battery system in the house? So we use the same inverter. All of our inverters we ship up to 10 kilowatt have an open interface for our storage system. So we can decide storage system, yes or no, as well to cover even more scenarios with our optimizer, inverter, and now our battery system. So let's go a little bit more in detail in our storage Luna system. We have a modular based philosophy, and we not only on the rooftop work with our energy optimizer solution and a modular solution, as well for our storage system, we work in a modular solution. Our Luna consists of at least one power module and at least one battery module. And is due to the fact that one battery module has 5 kilowatt hours usable energy inside, we can easily stack these modular battery modules on the top of each other and increase the usable energy of each storage system. So we have from 1 to 3 modules in one Luna system. That means in one Luna we can have up to 15 kilowatt hours usable energy. So we are very flexible. We can increase later on as well the number of battery modules, but I come to this on a few slides later. And we can flexible be added to the single phase inverter or to the 3-phase inverter up to 10 kilowatt. So for each country, for each grid, we can provide our flexible solution. And for each PV system size, we can as well adapt our number of modules from the battery by adding or reducing the nominal capacity. And this makes our system even more flexible. And for houses or smaller CNI applications, where 15 kilowatt hours may be not sufficient and not enough, we can use 2 of these 15 kilowatt hours Lunas in parallel. So we can add up to 2 energy storage systems to one inverter. So 2 batteries work in parallel in one system. So that means in the case of 15 kilowatt hours added 2 times to one inverter, we can have 30 kilowatt hours usable energy in a combination with our inverters. So, and if this is even not enough of usable energy, we can use up to 3 inverters from our solution in parallel in one system, and this can increase the battery size even more. as a smart feature, because in terms of flexibility as well of the installation place, we integrated in each battery pack a smart thermal management, especially for very low temperatures and for environments with very low temperatures and for outside installation of our battery. Though each pack is IP66, sorry, from protection class, what allows us to install our lunar battery even outside in rush environments. And the charging and discharging is as well enabled in ambience with very low temperatures. This is driven by, or is possible because we add a small heating or preheating system inside of each battery pack. So maybe you know it from your EV car when you are planning to drive to the next charging station. The battery cells get preheated because of preparing for charging. This is more or less the same what we can do in our battery modules. We are preheating from the DC energy from the roof our cells to prepare for charge and discharging. So as well, a very unique feature what we added as a standard feature in each battery module, what enables you to install flexible inside or outside our storage system. Flexibility as well, main driver for our battery concept. As mentioned, we have not only on the rooftop energy optimizer solution, as well our battery, what is equipped typically inside of the house, has an internal energy optimizer. So each battery pack has a own battery management system, though what is short here BMS. Though the battery management system enables us to run all our battery packs and our cell packs in a parallel architecture, what isolated each pack against the other. Though this brings a benefit in terms of unbalance between different cell packs, for example. We allow to add new packs later on after the first pack, for example, got already installed maybe 1 or 2 years earlier. So it's very flexible for us to integrate a new battery pack for us into an existing system. So this electric isolation and the battery management on each battery pack avoid impact of cell inconsistency. And of course, we can guarantee that we have the maximum of usable energy for each battery pack all over the lifetime of each single battery. So how does it work in detail? Only a short example about what I mentioned regarding mixing old and new batteries together in one system. Typically with existing solution on the market where you stack in a pure serial connection each battery module on the top of the next one, though like a serial connection of PV modules. Typically you have a serial connection of battery modules in a storage system as well to increase the capacity. Our Huawei solution provides a battery management system on each battery pack. So like in this example, if you already run a 10 kilowatt system, a 10 kilowatt hour system, let's say, for example, 2 years, we already had the decrease of the capacity in the used battery packs. And now we decided to add a third one with the full capacity available. With our battery management system on the pack, we can on the one hand, reduce the installation time because we do not need any pre-charge or discharge procedure before we add this new pack in the system. So we are just clicking it by our wiring inside of the existing system, and everything else will be done by our battery management. This reduces, on the one hand, the time of installation because we don't need a pre-charge procedure. And on the other hand, due to the independent management of each pack, we enable the full Luna battery to provide always the maximum of capacity to be available. So no negative impact from old to new packs, and this all over the lifetime of the battery in total. Though, of course, one important and the most important factor for choosing an storage system is as well the safety of the system. So that's why we integrated a 4-level safety protection in our storage system to make it one of the most safe storage system on the market. This is as well certified by TÜV Rheinland for this hardest rigorous safety standard for lithium-ion energy storage system in residential application. So we achieved this certification, what show us as well from a third party that we have a very safe battery what we can equip with our inverter. Safetiness safetiness start already on the cell chemistry level. Therefore, we decided to choose the most safe chemistry what is now available at the moment on the market with a lithium iron phosphate cell what we choose. So this is already the first step of safety because this is the most safe chemistry of a cell. On the next step, second step is our battery management and cell monitoring, what we equip on each pack. Come into detail on the next slides. Next safety level is our 0-volt protection on each touchable port of the battery. So like similar what we can provide on the rooftop with our optimizers on the modules, on the PV modules. Same is what we can provide on the battery modules. We can shut down our battery modules to 0 volt. And last but not least, the last level, level 4, we add a extinguish bag on each battery module. And what this in detail means, I come now in with the next slides. So let's talk first about the first protection level, our battery management system and our battery cell monitoring. So on each battery pack, so this is the structure of our 16 cells, what we have in each pack. And on every 2 cells, we have a single temperature sensor. So we have a very detailed monitoring of each temperature inside of the pack. In total, 8 sensors are monitoring the 16 cells, and together with, of course, voltage and current monitoring, what we have on the cell packs, we have a very high detail and very high monitoring precision. And this is very important on the one hand to manage each pack, to have the full capacity available all the time. And on the other hand, it's important because we know very detailed what's going on in our battery pack. And in any case, we can directly react if we measure some kind of abnormal behavior. In that case of abnormal behavior, or in case of a DC manual shutdown, we switch down our pack to 0 voltage. So this is the next protection level, let's say. Even during installation, the installer is never in touch with a high voltage from the battery. You can easily connect the battery modules one by one to the DC converting module, and later on you switch on the DC switch on the battery and the DC switch on the inverter, and only high voltage occurs after switching on the full installed and wired lunar system. So no danger in terms of high potential and high voltage. We always work under 0 voltage and a very high security level during installation and as well for maintenance work, for example. And the last level of protection in any case, and hopefully we will never use this last level of protection, we add a self-extinguish module in each battery pack, what would help us in case of any high temperature inside of this battery pack to cool down the battery packs and the lithium cells. And in any case of fire, we can as well extinguish this fire inside of our sealed battery pack. As I mentioned, we have a protection class of IP66 for each battery module, so it's very tight. And in case of any high temperature or fire occurs inside of this battery pack, this extinguish module would detect this high temperature and immediately release some kinds of chemical components to the internal area of our battery module. What on the one hand reduce the temperature, and on the other hand we could blow out an fire if there would be someone. And the gas what we blow out would as well reduce the number of oxygen inside of this sealed battery pack, and effectively within a few seconds we could stop this chemical reaction inside of our battery pack, what makes us even more safe in any case of anything happens with our battery from internal or external effect. Okay, our battery system was number 3. What we can add to our inverter. So remember, 1 + 4 + X is our philosophy. And the number 4, what was a missing piece in the past, is now available in the second half of the year. Is our Fusion Charge AC charger, what we provide in 2 different versions, as a single phase version as well for single phase markets up to 7 kW charging power, and for all 3-phase countries with 3-phase grids, we will provide a 22 kilowatt charging solution from the AC side in combination with our existing solution. And the Huawei philosophy to make it as easy as possible is as well a main philosophy what we used during the development for our AC charger. And this begins during installation already. So we split up our charger in 2 main components. One is the back plate to mount the charger on a wall, so you can split up between the main body of the charger and the back plate. And this enables you to very easy install the back plate on the wall in the first step, and of course in the second step it enables you to easily install and finish the wiring. And when you have a detailed look to our main plate, you can maybe see that we have different options as well for in for plugging the cable in the back plate. We can come from the top, from the bottom, from the side, or from behind. So it's a very flexible installation way, very easy to do and finalize the wiring. And when all the installation work is done, you easily click the main body into the back plate, what enables you as well for maintenance reason afterwards to click or remove again the main body from the wall box and renew it, for example, with a new one if some defect occurs. So very flexible, very easy to use as well here, doing the 3-step fast installation program. Of course, we want to combine our AC charger with green energy from the rooftop. And of course, that's why we have as a main working mode the green power prefer mode for an optimal use of your own produced energy, and of course resulting in an optimum electricity cost for charging your EV car. What do we have integrated? We have an automatic switch over between single phase and 3-phase charging mode up to an available charging power of 1.4 kilowatts, for example. We are only charging single phase, but we are charging. And later on, if during the day, like in this example here, example curve, when we exceeding the 1.4 kilowatt power, what is available for charging, we automatically switch over to 3-phase charging above 3.9 kilowatt. Though, and the other way around, of course, as well. If we going into the evening hours, we can switch from 3-phase back to a single phase, so an automatic switch between these two working modes, what enables you to have an optimum use of your own produced energy for charging your car. If you don't want to charge from your rooftop, if you live in a country where you can use and charge peak and off-grid prices from your electricity, of course, we have another working mode, what we call time of use, what enables you to program your charger to fully charge into a defined time where your electricity price is quite low and sufficient for you to charge your car. So this is as well for scheduling during night, for example, when you have off-peak prices, for finding the optimum cost solution for charging your car. And of course, if no other way is possible, you are in time hurry, you need to charge as fast as possible. Of course, our chargers with 7 kW and 22 kW charging power are possible to run under full charge power, what results in a very short charging time. For example, here, if you have 60 kilowatt hours capacity available in your electric car, you can fully charge your car within 2.7 hours, for example, if running full power with our 3-phase charger under 22 kilowatt. But what we need to avoid, of course, is an house tripping, and therefore we add as well a very smart logic, a load balancing logic, what avoid any house tripping in terms of full charge power is running, but inside of the house, electricity loads are switched on in the same time. So we can set a maximum total consumption limit by using our APP. And this ensures that you will never trip your house fuses by exceeding the maximum available charge power or consumption power from your house. This is easily to set with our APP. And talking about our FusionSolar APP, of course, this is already available on the market, but nevertheless, we want to introduce the new function as well. So the missing puzzle piece in our system, 1+4, is completed then when we add our APP monitoring. With this platform, we enable, on the one hand, to have the full visibility of our PV system with our inverter combined with our energy storage system, and in the future as well combined with our AC charger, what we will provide in the future. So in this one-stop platform, you can see all necessary information, what is on your rooftop, what is inside your house happen, what is your load, what is your charging mode, what is your status of the charging. You can define the different modes of charging, and you have the full access and the full visibility what happened inside of your house by using the Huawei solution. And with all this information inside of a house, of course, you need to do something smart. And therefore, we announce and we will launch soon our smart energy management assistant. We call it EMA, so Energy Management Assistant. And EMA will manage all these necessary information, what is collected inside of your holistic system. So this begins by a weather forecast, more information regarding your load curve, your typical load consumption, combined with information from grid tariffs, for example, about the available capacity inside of your storage system, the planned forecast of energy for the next days. All these information need to sort out in a very smart way, and therefore EMA is here, and EMA allows as well a very smart avoidance of clipping from your PV production for the next days or for the occurring day, for example, because we know the predicted energy yield of the day. And if you have an PV system with an export limit, for example, EMA knows that and avoid the clipping during the midday peak and reserve some energy capacity inside of your storage system, for example, and reduce the clipping during the midday. Same for other scenarios. For example, if you have low and high peak prices during the day and low prices of energy during the night, EMA predicts that the next day will be a rainy day, for example. That's why we call it the rainy day mode, where you can switch to, though we can pre-charge our energy system during the night when the energy price is quite low, and use the charged cheap energy during the high peak prices of the day, and supply our house and our loads by the pre-charged energy system. And of course, we can shift loads. For example, like the EV charger, we can shift these loads, and as well additional house loads on an intelligent way inside of the production curve to increase the rate of self-usage of the energy from the roof. And all together with our new design tool, what we as well release by the next month, we can provide the full one-fits-all and one-stop platform, starting from the design tool, where we have as well an own webinar on the 21st of July here together with PV Tech, and we can show there our new design tool quite detailed. We have our APP, what is a commissioning tool and a monitoring tool for the house owner and installer, and everything else what we provide. From one hand, we are the one and only company where you can ask questions and where you have to call if something is unclear. So this one-stop solution is a very unique feature what we can provide now. And together with our active safety, makes the Huawei solution quite unique on the market. We split up our safety on the rooftop with providing as a standard feature an arc protection, our optimizer solution, as well for rapid shutdown solutions to make the work for installers and firefighters very safe on a very low voltage level. And of course, we put the highest priority on safety on our storage system and include many safety functions as shown before for active safety above and under the rooftop, for giving you a peace in mind by using our Huawei residential solution. And thank you on this place for your attendance, and hopefully we can answer a few more questions now.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Thomas, for that presentation today. Hugely detailed and hopefully giving that audience some food for thought there. As Thomas suggested, now is the time for some audience Q&A. So a quick reminder that you can submit your questions via the dialog box that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there. Thomas, I think just perhaps an easy one from me, just to really kick things off here. There's obviously a lot of detail which has gone into this and a lot of thought that's gone into the design of the products. What would you say were Huawei's kind of core ambitions for the product design, in terms of what solutions were you trying to come up with, and what problems were you trying to solve?
The most highest focus from Huawei is, of course, always safety and reliability. I think this is one of the core values what is Huawei providing since the beginning to the market. Doesn't matter if there's a residential or utility solution, what we are providing, reliability and safety is the main focus for each product, making it as much as easy to work with our products and technical solutions. And it is as well for installers very easy if you have not to think about your installation, what you have done in the past, and you can focus on new business. Though one of the main topics of today's webinar was how can installer overcome the surging customer demand. And this is what we are facing, for example, in Germany here right now, an overcoming demand on the market driven due to high electricity prices and other crises all over the world. Everyone wants to get a PV system, a storage system installed to get a little bit independent from the electricity prices and energy prices, and to have an easy life for an installer is very important. Not to think about what I did in the past. You can focus what you have to do in the next weeks. And therefore, reliability is an important factor, safety is an important factor, and the ease of use with our components is a very important factor.
Excellent. We're getting quite a few questions coming in, so I'm going to try to capture as many questions as possible. Thomas, could you share some availability details for the products in terms of different markets, when they're available, when can installers expect to get their hands on them?
Yes, sure. This is typically the first question, what I expect about the availability. So we have to split up the availability between the different components, the different devices what we have. We already supply and we are ready for sale with our optimizer solution and with our inverter and with our battery energy storage system. So these three components are already available at Huawei, but available at Huawei, of course, means the real availability at the reseller in the certain market need to be double checked in detail with the sales guy from the reseller. What we will launch in the second half of the year and what will be available by end of the year is our AC charger, what I presented here, and as well our EMA solution for the smart energy management. So all combined and integrated in our FusionSolar management as well. The update from the management will be done as well during the second half of the year. What generally speaking, by end of the year, we should be able to provide the full solution what we launched here today.
Excellent. And then perhaps as an extension to that, is there anything that you can share in terms of the warranties available for the products you've shared, or is that something that needs further discussion?
The warranties depending on the different markets, though therefore there is no generally answer for the question of warranty what we can give. Though I ask you to double check within your country what warranty condition are available. Therefore, there is no answer for all over Europe and for all over the world available. So please double check the local warranty condition from your market.
Excellent, excellent. And just to pick up on the EV charger, obviously geared towards a launch in the second half of this year. What kind of compatibility does it have with all of the different plugs and sockets that are around now with different vehicle manufacturers?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Though we provide our charger with a standard socket as a standard solution, and we will provide as well different kinds of cables in different kinds of sockets for different kinds of EV cars. Same for different length. So flexibility as well on this topic is very important. That's why we have a basic module, a basic device, what is the AC charger, and flexible to the standard socket, what is included. We can add flexible cables, what enables as well the installation and the installer or the house owner. If someone accidentally damaged the cable, for example, you can easily replace the cable. Though different kind of solutions will be provided.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Thomas. And then I guess we've got time possibly for one or two more. The EMA management, energy management software, how is that geared towards actually onboarding consumers? Is there a step-by-step guide? How are they educated as to the data that they're seeing and what that means for them?
Though there will be many details what will be available later the year, as we are now still on a very early stage by launching this product. I think it's too early and too much detail to get a full picture and a full answer here in this short time. But generally speaking, it will be a cloud-based logic what collect all the required data with the sensors inside of the house. So of course we measure the electricity, what we feed in and consuming inside of the house. We know quite detailed what our devices are available in terms of capacity and charging capacity, and everything together will be combined in the cloud-based EMA. Therefore, I want to put this on a later date to go even more in detail. Quite sure we will announce more webinars later the year with more details about the EMA.
Perfect. Well, unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. Just a quick reminder that the presentations and a recording of today's webinar will be available shortly, so keep your eyes peeled on PV Tech and in your inbox for that. A huge thank you to Huawei for supporting today's webinar, to Thomas for presenting and taking so many of our questions, and indeed for all of you for your attention. Thanks again, and we hope to see you next time.
Thank you all.